Oh,
Hello.
we got
we
there.
we got there in the end. Good morning.
Morning.
Now, first of all, can I just ask, how do I pronounce your name? Because I want to make sure I say it right.
Oh yeah, people like Raya. It's because I think it's because of the Raya and the Dragon, the new Disney movie, and
It's
they
such
call
a
they
good
call her
film.
Raya. So it's Raya.
It is Raya. Okay,
Yeah.
perfect.
And yours,
Oh,
Kate.
Kayla. Yeah, I know. It's a funny spelling, but yeah, it's it's Kayla. How are you this morning?
I'm good, thank you.
Good.
Yeah,
Thank you so much for being here.
yeah, yeah. It's lovely. And I've got your lovely postnatal
Oh,
food,
wow. What
and
an
I haven't had a
amazing bit
taste
of
of it yet. I
promo.
can smell it. I can smell it, and I can't wait to take a sip.
Oh, bless you. I'm glad you're enjoying it. That's what it's all about. So I have been a fan of you for a long time. I've always kind of watched from afar everything that you're doing because I just feel like people like you and the things that you're doing have such a deep sense of purpose and help to connect people like me with aspects of themselves that have kind of been shut down for such a long time. And first of all, let's start by just introducing you and finding out a bit more about what you do. Oh, is it frozen? Oh. Technical glitches this morning.
Yeah, am I back now?
Yeah.
It kicked me off, so I
Oh,
wasn't able to speak
sorry.
for the last bit. But I think yeah, you were just start introducing. Yeah.
Your picture's still frozen though. Hold
Oh,
on.
am I?
I can hear you, but it's just your.
Oh, yeah, because I came back on live, but I was saying what I said before. I was like, this is weird. I'm watching myself, but I thought I was live. I can see myself moving.
You're frozen on my screen. Let me try. You. Oh, Casey says she can see and hear you. Okay, fantastic. Then that's perfect.
Yeah.
As long as if
You
it's
can
only
just hear.
my screen that's frozen, that's fine.
Okay.
So, would you mind just giving us a little bit of an intro to what it is you do with
Mm-hmm.
Womb Love? We'd love to hear it.
Okay. So, yeah, I like to call myself a womb wellness and empowerment guide. And womb love came about as a result of not one clear kind of moment whatsoever. There wasn't even kind of like a specific healing journey that triggered this kind of thing starting. It all kind of came together as a result of stepping onto my spiritual journey and just being immersed in lots and lots of women's spaces.
Mm-hmm.
And time and time again, noticing, witnessing, being in the healing power of sitting in circle with other women and sharing our stories. And as time went on, would take part in lots of different practices to help me connect to my body, to help me connect to my heart and to my womb. And then just realizing every single time how much there's just this vast cavern of knowledge amongst most people that we meet. There's just this kind of absolute severing of feminine wisdom that has taken place over I guess the past few thousand years, still holding on in there in some cultures, but nevertheless, kind of we've just got these just aching kind of ancestral lines of no information, no vital important information about our menstrual cycles, about birth, about breastfeeding, about
Yes.
just all of these things. And I guess as I learnt, I just kept this fire kept on burning even brighter about this. I have to share this information. It's very much the way I go about my life, is that whatever I learn, I feel like I have to teach and I have to share, because it's vital everyone knows this, and this is the key. And I do believe that a big piece of women connecting to their wombs and having having empowered births and having empowered life experiences where they feel sovereign and in control and
Mm-hmm.
rooted and grounded and resourced from the earth is the key. I'm sorry,
Mm-hmm.
it is.
Why are
And
you
it's,
sorry? This is wonderful. Please keep going. It's so nice because I can hear how passionate, even though your image is frozen. It's so nice because I can hear how passionate you are about everything you're saying. So it's wonderful. Please continue.
yeah. So yeah, Womb Love came about as a result of a few trainings that I did. I trained in an ecstatic dance modality called Kundalini dance, which awakened a lot within me, and
Mm-hmm.
also put me on the path of holding ceremonial spaces,
Mm-hmm.
kind of deep healing spaces for women. And I used the tools that I learned from that training to apply
Mm-hmm.
to women's circles. I trained in
Mm-hmm.
womb massage, I trained in womb yoga. And then it got
Wow.
to a point where I was doing this alongside my regular work that kind of wasn't fulfilling me.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
it got to that point where I was like, I can't like not do this
Mm-hmm.
anymore. So it all came to, I thought I can put this all to this is already an offering. I've got offerings that I can share. I'd
Mm-hmm.
always wanted to, as I'd kind of been attending these spaces, I'd always wanted something to share and give back and
Mm-hmm.
hold space for. And with the mix of things that I'd learned and the things that I'd kind of just by just deepening into my own womb practice over time, I thought
Mm-hmm.
this is just start here. This is beneficial. This is powerful for
Mm-hmm.
every woman to just to begin their womb connection journey. And I guess
Mm-hmm.
the basis of what I do is just supporting women to maintain that relationship, to sustain that relationship. It's
Mm-hmm.
not necessarily like often we can give ourselves a hard time on healing journey, and the fact of the matter is we
Mm-hmm.
it's not linear, and it's every day, and it's the small choices, and that's the only way that
Yeah.
you ever see growth. So
Yeah.
yeah, so essentially womb love came together as a result of I have to do this and I have to do this now.
Mm-hmm.
And it all just began to make sense, more so with my womb massage training, because I could
Mm-hmm.
kind of bring everything together in that way and hold that one-to-one space with women and see the
Mm-hmm.
change as I worked with them.
I think it's so wonderful that you had another job and it's just like your purpose took over and it's like you physically, mentally, emotionally couldn't do that anymore because this was your calling. And I've been looking at your website just to kind of get a deeper understanding, like a more balanced understanding of everything that you do. And kind of I love looking at people's bios on their websites just to
Mm-hmm.
just to see their journey and their personal connection to the things that they offer. And again, I could even reading the words on the page, I could just feel that everything was so genuine, that it comes from such an intrinsic space, and it's really wonderful. You were speaking about kind of on your website, you were speaking about like the ancient cultural traditions and the disconnect from that, and that being lost, and these things not being passed on, which I think is so wonderful, and definitely so many women's experiences. I feel like I only became more connected with my own body after giving birth to my son, and then more so my daughter, because I wanted her to have kind of that freedom of exploration, that understanding. And you also spoke about that shame that's associated with our bodies, with menstruation and
Mm-hmm.
everything. And it's so key that we work to remove that. And I love that you mentioned that, because I felt the same way as a child growing up. Like, these weren't conversations that I had with
Yeah.
my mum or any of my female peers, and I'm sure they weren't conversations that they had with their mothers and grandparents. And like, this level of disconnect just continues, and I feel like it feeds into everything that we are, everything we do as human beings and as women, and like you said, our innate power.
Mm-hmm.
So I think what you do is incredible in kind of trying to reconnect that, and just providing women with the support to be able to do that. I would just love to hear more about what that looks like for you. Like, what are the processes that are involved in helping women to connect back with the sacredness of their wombs?
Mm-hmm. Mm. So yeah, I guess it comes about in a few different ways.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of when I work in groups and when I work one to one. But essentially it's yeah, I work a lot with connecting to the womb and the heart through meditation and through gentle embodied movement, and just really supporting women to restore that sense of internal communication, which is often the first step, because a lot of people will come to me because they've kind of intellectualized what's been going on for them. They know something's not quite right, so they've actually, the first thing that I do is I acknowledge that, like, you have listened to your womb is speaking to you, you have been on a big journey, and really acknowledge that in order to have this connection to the womb that is embodied and does result in you feeling like that you feel empowered and that you're connected to your strength, is by accepting the story that you hold, and by really being with it as well, because our wombs are the creative portal of our bodies, and as much as they have the capacity to be rewired and reconnected to in a really nourishing and fulfilling way, they also hold our stories, they hold our shame, our disconnect, and most of all, and especially for my journey, they hold these just these ancestral ties of keeping us limited and small. And so yeah, I guess what I do is I work a lot with a lot of what comes through me is restoring that woman to connect to what her internal compass is saying, and to shut out all of the noise, and to not to kind of second guess herself, but to really know that what is going on inside her body is the truth, and to continue to strengthen that conversation. So yeah, I work with meditation, I work with movement, which is it's just guiding everything to be womb led. So letting the womb guide with however the rest of the body wants to move, let the just and then working also with I work with massage when I work with clients, but I also in my workshops guide people into practices like that, because it's that kind of thing, waking up in the morning after a shower, after a bath, just spending time connecting, hands on womb, hands on heart, massaging is what is going to deepen the relationship over time. There's not really anything I can do but be just a way shower and a space holder and a guide, and also I guess passing on information and passing on kind of filling in the gaps, but essentially I kind of I work with energy to help people clear and help people release their baggage and help people to reconnect to the earth and reconnect to source, and essentially just sort of help them to clarify their vessel so that they can really heighten their sense of communication with themselves and their womb listening. So it's kind of different with everyone that I work with, and I sort of intuitively blend things and tune into their bodies, and depending on what they're bringing on the day or what kind of big life experience they're moving through, and really support them to come up with a strong intention so that I can just be a conduit for them to help them to reach that and to plant that seed within their womb, so that they can go away from whether it's the workshop or the one-to-one session feeling like they kind of that they've got somewhere to start, and that they are not broken, and that there is hope. And I always I always follow up with tons of integration, which is just my way of saying, like, look, you could continue to come for sessions with me, or there is the opportunity to take absolute responsibility here and just continue to maintain just really simple connection with yourself, and that's the way you build a relationship with your womb over time. It's difficult, but it's also absolutely simple.
No, but I just love everything that you're saying, because I feel like, as with anything, it's very much a process, isn't it? It's kind of like not a one-stop fix. It's something that you have to do, something that you kind of have to integrate into your everyday lifestyle. And I feel like throughout society, we've kind of been taught to not listen to our bodies and to kind of shut that down and to trust kind of westernized medicines and so forth in the journey of healing and nurturing and looking after ourselves. And those channels just really need to be revisited and reestablished, which is why I just completely love everything you're doing, because as I said earlier, I have a little girl who's 4, and I feel like once I had her, it kind of really reopened all of the things that I wasn't able to explore as a child, and trying to kind of shift that experience for her has led to my own journey of learning about my body, about feminine health, about how to take care of myself, and really understand that when things aren't right, I have to look inward and figure out what's going on. So I just think everything that you're doing is incredible. I love the yoni steaming ceremonies and everything.
Steaming, you mentioned that as well. I work with the yoni steaming.
Yeah. How did that come into play in terms of your practice?
So yeah, that was another thing. So I had a particularly prominent teacher, a woman that I met in India, Leela Grace, and she was the one that kind of, I guess back in the day, she had a similar kind of, not similar kind of, but she had a website, and she was selling jade eggs and yoni steams. And but first of all, I had met her in India, and she gave me the absolute download on my menstrual cycle and about the sacredness of my blood. And I left that conversation completely blown away, being like, I had absolutely no idea. And then what continued was a deepening relationship with my blood, connecting with it, because I was physically seeing it through my menstrual cup. And then so I continued to deepen that relationship with my womb, and then explored the yoni eggs, and then explored yoni steaming as well. So I first of all just tried it out. I thought, this sounds interesting. This sounds like a nice little spa moment to treat my yoni to. And then,
Raya, sorry to interrupt, would you mind just giving a brief overview of what a yoni steam is? Because there may be some women in here that are unsure.
Okay. So yoni steaming is essentially sitting over a pot of steaming herbs that's been concocted for any reason. It could just be for general rejuvenation, or it could be for certain healing, and sitting over and essentially letting the steam go up towards your vulva and caress your vulva and warm the whole of the pelvic bowl and into the vagina. And essentially this is like a spa moment for your whole vagina, and it also helps to relax your womb and to just totally just relax and release, and to hand over to the wisdom of the plants to support you. It's in kind of in a nutshell. I find it hard to put things in a nutshell, so it's going to be quite a big nutshell. But essentially it's a practice that like doesn't even have a clear line of origin. There's countries all over the world, essentially from all 4 corners of the earth, that will say, yeah, we've got a practice of this. Like, yeah, my grandmother used to do this, or we're just finding out now from this history book that like, oh, actually this was used in like different like earlier midwifery practices, all sorts of things like folk midwifery, and it has been carried through to now, and now it's having a resurgence because people are realizing just it's a very powerful, effective, and easy to do, and very accessible practice for anyone to do at home. Once you've got the herbs and you've worked out how to sit comfortably over a pot of steaming herbs, then it's beautiful. Essentially it's sitting over some herbs, but for the effect of deeply relaxing the womb.
Wonderful. I remember after my first yoni steam, I came out completely changed, because I was just like, it was just something inside that just connected, and it just felt right. And that's when I started to kind of integrate it into a more routine sense of my feminine care, and just looking after myself and taking that time to kind of pull back into myself and love on myself, and understand that is part of the balance of my well-being, you know. It's the physical, it's the emotional, it's everything coming together to
Yeah.
align and make sure that we're at our best. But I
Yeah.
think a lot of the time we either think it's one or the other, but everything's so connected, and we
Mm.
don't always understand that, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what I love about yoni steaming, is it's this amazing practice that has all of these elements in one. Like you said, it,
Mm-hmm.
the moment it's giving yourself a full 20 minutes, half an hour longer
Mm-hmm.
to relax. Often we can think, oh yeah, relax my body, relax my womb, relax my yoni in everyday life. But
Mm-hmm.
actually, we are holding so much together, especially if we've got
Yeah.
busy lives, if we're busy mums, if we've got high flying jobs, or we just generally are just trying to survive in this world.
Yeah.
Often we're literally clenching our bum, clenching our yonis. We're holding
Mm-hmm.
so much. A lot of us have got chronic tension there, which is the
Mm-hmm.
cause of a lot of issues.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of these things that's just like, okay, this is self-care just for my yoni. It doesn't, even though it can have sensual and activating qualities to it, it's
Mm-hmm.
essentially like I'm zoning in on my yoni and getting myself to relax at my root.
Mm-hmm.
And what I love as well is it's like a cup of delicious herbal tea, but for your yoni, and you find that there's a different communication. You know, when you seem to kind of, when you can almost talk to your herbal tea, you get the sense that this rose is
Mm-hmm.
really surrounding your heart, or like the raspberry leaf is really like nourishing your womb. When you're
Mm-hmm.
receiving the raspberry leaf or the nettle or the calendula up through your yoni, you almost feel
Mm-hmm.
like there's just this really beautiful earth connection magic going on. And I think that
Mm-hmm.
is so restorative and so grounding. At
Mm-hmm.
the same time as you can go pretty deep, you're in this deeply relaxed space, so you can really enter the
Yes.
vastness of
Mm-hmm.
your womb and the wisdom that comes about when we are able to stop and listen. It's so essential for us women to have that deep feminine listening time, so that
Mm-hmm.
we can actually listen, hear what the
Mm-hmm.
message is.
No, I completely agree.
Mm.
Thank you so much for being with us today. We've come to the end of our time,
Oh,
and
already? Oh,
I
I,
know, I know.
I
I'm
do
just,
talk
I
a lot. I was thinking, oh, you sent me over a few
honestly,
questions. I'm probably going to get stuck on the first one, because I talk very like a flowering bramble bush of
but you
very.
answered everything that I had to say. I've just really enjoyed just listening to you, because you've just taken everything that I had to ask anyway, and you've just gone through it. So thank you so much. For those of you that are listening in, Raya will be I'll be posting a blog post from Raya on my website, and her business is also live on the directory if you wanted to find her and access her wonderful services. I'm so grateful for you and your offerings and all that you do, and just looking forward to seeing what you go on to do in the future, and what you continue to do in the journey of healing and connecting women with their bodies and the sacredness of that womb health. It's just wonderful. It's wonderful, and just I'm so grateful for you. So thank you. I'm just rambling now.
Likewise, likewise. Thank you for just all of the beautiful just intention that you put into your beautiful teas and your beautiful business, and this amazing thing that you're doing to connect all of these amazing women and womb workers, and just like reconnecting women to this information. And you know what? Everything starts with a cup of tea, doesn't it? Everything starts. You know,
It definitely
that's
does.
what we
It
need to get
should.
back to: sitting in the kitchen, having tea and chatting, and connecting
Yeah.
to herbs that are so powerful, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So, and just they teach us so much, and they hit, and they're so supportive for us, especially
Oh, they
postnatally
are.
as well. Yeah.
They really are. Thank
Thank
you
you
so
so
much, Raya. Take
much.
care.
Have a beautiful
And
day.
guys, if you have any questions, feel free. You can send me any questions in my DMs, or you can contact Raya directly at womb.love on Instagram. But thank you for being with us today. Have a
Yeah.
wonderful day. Thank you, Raya. Bye.
Bye.